Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Inshallah, this year, in this period, we're going to be studying a book called Awamil al-Birkwi. So inshallah, I'll run through with you in this lesson who the author is, what his methodology is in his book, how the book is laid out, other books similar to this, and some footnotes you can actually use to study this book if you want to, or maybe later you can do your own research, and also how we're going to study this book. Okay? So if you look at the first page, it's called, the author, his name is Muhammad ibn Bir Ali. He's Turkish. So obviously some of the names are not really malleable on our tongue. It's a bit difficult to pronounce. So when he says Rumi means, from the Arab he's a Roman. So Roman like anything up north, Turk. He's a Turkish. So he's got different ways. When some say Birkwi, he's also known as Birkili. So Birkili and also Birkili. This is a city, it's in Bali, Kisra. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. It's in Turkey. He taught in a village called Birki. That's why he became known as Birkwi, the one of Birk. And he was passed away in 981. So about 500 years, about 450 years ago. Okay, it's also good to get ideas so you know how early they are. So you know, well, so it's like, for example, if the person was very early in the Islamic sciences, maybe it's not as defined, you will find terminologies are not as solid as they were later on. So it's get a good idea, but nothing too important in this science, but later on is good to have. For example, let's say you got a book on Aqidah. So if the author was 12th century or 2nd century, it's going to be different, isn't it? For example, a 2nd century scholar may not discuss Khatm al-Nabuwwah as regular as the 14th century Aqidah, because there may not be a fitna of that then. You get what I'm trying to say? In the 2nd century, there was a big discussion about the Quran and the nature of the Quran. That's not as relevant maybe now, so you might have less emphasis on that. So it's good to know the author's time. For example, if somebody is born in the 100th century, wrote a book in the 100th century, so Nahw was not developing. So certain things, for example, the maf'ul bihi may not have been a fixed term, it may have more than one term. But later on, everybody used maf'ul bihi. So it's a good idea to know where the author was born, when he was born. So it's not that important in this book, but just give you ideas of how you understand how to study, how to research the author. Right. Now, this book is a bit different to other books of Nahw. So you've studied our English Nahw books, but when you study the other books of Nahw, you realize it has all the other books, most of them, 90% of the Nahw books, have a fixed pattern. They discuss it in a certain methodology. His methodology is quite different, but it's quite unique and it's quite useful, especially to understand the Arab. It's really about Arab. So if you look at it here, let's look at the word here. So Amila ya'malun, to do good deeds. Ya'maluna salihat, to do. But in grammatical terminology, when you use the word amila, it means to govern. Okay? It means here, look, to govern. Okay? So for example, let me give an example. The word fi. Huh? Imala, yeah, you can figure out how much mistake. It's the typo. Right? So what happens? Fi, you thought what? You got the whole first year got done wrong. Imilu. So fi is harf jar, correct? So fi does amal. It governs the word after it. Correct? So because of fi, masjid has what? A kasra. So fi does amal, it governs masjid. How does it, not in terms of governance and physical governance, but grammatical governance. Because of fi, masjid becomes what state is masjid in? Majroor. So the thing that is governing is called what? Amil. What's it called? Amil, the governor. And the thing that's being governed is called ma'mul, the governed. So this is ma'mul. So he doesn't base his book on, okay, jumla, how to translate, shartiya, and all. He just basically, what's amil? What's ma'mul? That's what the structure of this book is about. That's how he approaches the book. Another example, you have lam yaftah. So lam is an amil. It governs yaftah. So because of lam, yaftah is what state is yaftah in? It's majzoom state. Because lam makes the verb after the fi'l mudari after it in majzoom state. So yaftah is majzoom. This is the amil as a ma'mul. Correct? But going further, you have al-muslimun babain. Now, what makes this marfu? What makes that mansub? The fa'il. So the fa'il is also an amil. So it's ma'mul for this, but it's an amil for these two. You get it? This is a fa'il. So the fa'il has a fa'il, which is marfu, and has a maf'ul bihi, which is what? Mansub. So this particle is governing this verb. It's making it majzoom. And this verb is making this marfu because it's the fa'il of this. And this verb is making this mansub because it is a maf'ul of this. Are you following me? And that's how we discuss it. What's amil, what's ma'mul? What particles, what ism, what harf, and what fail affect other harf or ism or fail. Do you understand? And then, how is this effect shown? How is governance shown? In a thing called i'rab. You following? This is shown in i'rab. So we have 3 topics we need to discuss. In this book, we discuss 3 topics. Amil, what particles, what harf, what ism, and what verbs govern other particles, ma'mul. And how is this governance manifested? So his book is what? So i'rab. So how is the book divided into 3 sections? So al-babul awwal is amil. All of the ism, all of the harf, and all of the verbs. Every single harf, every single verb, and every single ism that causes a change to the noun after it, causes a change to the words after it. Are you understanding? Ma'mul. All of those isms and all of those verbs which change, which are governed. And then i'rab, the i'rab of the ism and the i'rab of the fa'il, how the governance is shown. So it's 3 chapters in the whole book. Does it make sense to you how he's laid out the book? Do you understand the concept? So give me the printout. So if you look at it here. So in the printouts that you've got, so if you look at here, on page 17, he says what? Al-babul awwal fil amil. On the first page. What does that mean? And the first discussion is about amil. So he discusses the particles, the particles, the ism, the verb, and the harf. Ism, fa'il, and harf that cause change. And he goes through that. And under that, he has naw. An-naw al-awwal, an-naw al-thani, an-naw etc. And then on page 21, what does he have? Al-babus thani fil ma'mul. On page 21. And then if you go to the end, on page 25, he says Al-babu thalith fil i'rab. So it's based on 3 chapters, 3 sections. And for this book, for all books, when you're studying a book, if you're reading a newspaper, fine. But when you're studying a book, when you're studying in detail, it's very important to analyze the whole book before even studying it. What are the sections? What are the headings? What are the chapters? What is this? So you understand, you can navigate around the book. So you know where you are. So it's very important. So that's why here, this is an overview of the book. He has Amil, Ma'mul, and i'rab. You following? This is how the book is laid out. Yeah? Okay. Now, so this kind of structure, discussing Amil and Ma'mul. So for example, the other books will have, for example, different ways of analyzing things. But his book, this concept of Amil and Ma'mul, there are 3 famous books. The most famous one is this one, Al-Awamil al-Mai'a, the 100 governing particles. This is written by Abdul Qadir al-Jurjani rahmatullahi alayhi. And this is very famous. In Darul Ulooms, they do a commentary of that written by Mullah Jami. So you have Sharhu Mi'ati Amil, a commentary of the 100 governing particles written by Abdul Qadir al-Jurjani. And he did a shar on it. So most Darul Ulooms have this somewhere in the syllabus. Sharhu Mi'ati Amil. Okay? There's another book called Al-Misbah by Mutarrizi. So Mutarriz is made from Tarada Yatrizu, means to embroider. So he was an embroider, or his family had embroidering business, so it's called Mutarrizi. So he also wrote a book similar, but he based it on that one. Okay? And the one we have, the 3rd famous book, is Awamil al-Birkwi. And this one is, the reason I've chosen this book is because in the Awamil of Jurjani, he only has Amil. He says, Mi'atu Amil. He doesn't discuss the Ma'mul, he doesn't discuss i'rab. He only discusses what ism, what fa'il, and what harf cause a change. He doesn't discuss the Ma'mul itself. He doesn't discuss the i'rab. He just discusses the one section. That's why this book is a bit more comprehensive. That's why we've got this one. Okay? And this one's not that famous. Yeah? You following me so far? Yeah. All 3. It's a bit more comprehensive than the first 2. But this is more famous. And this is the original. He was the original. He had this ideology and this thinking that we can do it this way. Teach Nahw this way. Okay? Yeah? Acha. So, these are other books if you want to get a rough idea. And just if you want further reading, is that the same author, he's got a book basically based on this same concept. Amil, Ma'mul, i'rab. He's got this book called Idharul Asrar fi Nahwi. So the same author, he's got the same headings and the same structure, but it's more detailed. So if you ever think I'm not teaching you enough detail, you want to go into more detail, or after we finish, you say, well, let me try a bit more, you can get this book, and it's got more details of what we study here. There's another one called, this book is called Al-Majmu'atul Bahiyya. So basically in this book, there's a commentary of this as well. It's called Tuhfatul Ikhwan, written by Mustafa ibn Ibrahim. And I don't know how to pronounce that name. It's again a Turkish name. It's Kaf Lam Ya Waw Lam. It's Kaf Lam Ya Ba Waw Lam Ya Lam Ya. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know. It's a Turkish name, so I can't pronounce it. I tried looking for the pronunciation, but I couldn't find it. So he's got a sharh on it, commentary on it. And on this commentary, there's some footnotes by Kharbuti. So Hashid Kharbuti ala Tuhfatul Ikhwan. A commentary on that one, footnotes. So if you want to go into much more detail, I'll use this to prepare the lesson. You don't really need it initially. Maybe later on you get into it, you enjoy the science, you enjoy the book. Then you can think, you know what, I want to read it more. I really like this. Okay? There's also one called Ta'liq al-Fawadil ala I'rab al-Awamil. Basically, he does a tarkib of the whole book. You know the whole book here? The tarkib. What's mubtada, what's khabar, the i'rab of it. Tarkib, what's marfu, mansoob, majroor. Can you read it both ways, marfu and mansoob? Why? He discusses that whole thing. Okay? Now, how are you going to teach this book? This book, we're going to teach it in 4 levels. Okay? The first level is that we're going to put the book aside. Well, you can put the book aside. I'm going to teach you the contents of the book without the book. So basically, you got the 3 babs. I'm going to explain to you very briefly. What does Bab 1 have? What are the 5 parts in Bab 1? What are the Awamil? What are the Haraf? What are the Isam? What are the Fel that cause ruling? I explain that to you without the book. Just explain to you, understand it. I want you to get this concept in your mind. So you understand, okay, throughout Arabic language, these are the Amil. These are the Ma'mulat. So Ma'mulat, for example, what's Marfu? Fa'il, Mubtada, Khabar, Khabar of Inna, Isam of Kana. So you know all of these. So you know what are Marfu. You know all the Ma'mulat. You know all the Marfu'at, Mansubat, Majrurat. You know all the Arab. So all of that. Then once we've done that the first time, we'll go through the text. So I'll read the text with you, and then you understand all that we've explained before. Okay, Achha, this is what we've learned in the charts or in the class, and this is the text that applies to it. Correct? Then again we'll go through again by more detail. But for example, the first time you say, for example here, the first time if you look at it, the first time he says here, for example, ba. He says that one of the harf jar is ba. For example, amantu billah. But he doesn't explain that ba has about 5, 6 meanings, 7, 8 meanings. So the second, when we go through again, we go more grammatically deep into it. The meanings of ba, the meanings of mean, the transitions of mean. So we'll go through more grammatical depth third time round. And at the end, if you have time, we'll do it in such a way that we'll do the Arab of a portion of the whole book. Like a deep, proper deep tarkib, Arab. Now what happens in the Darul Ulooms, normally they focus on this a lot. That's their approach. I don't think that's the main purpose of the book. The main purpose of the book is the whole Nahw. But we'll go a bit of this, so we understand, okay, how, for example, you can have a badal. It can be a tabi, it can be a mansoob, it can be marfu, majroor. Why? Different ways. So we go through a very deep and sometimes a bit even over the top. But just give you an idea, taster of how it works. So when you see it somewhere else, but the main thing is the first 3 levels I want to go through. So when I explain the first time round, in English, without the Arabic, just understand the content of the book. So for example, the Amil. So the first Amil is harf jar. Because harf jar makes all the particles after it what? Majroor. What are the harf jar? These numbers. So memorize those. Then what's the second type of harf? Harf mushabbah bil fa'il. Huruf mushabbah bil fa'il. What did they do? Made the ism mansoob and the khabar marfu. You got it? We go through all of them. Understand the whole mind map of this concept of Amil Ma'mul. Then Ma'mulat. So what's Ma'mul? You have marfu, mansoob and majroor. So what's marfu? Whole list of marfu. What's mansoob? Maf'ul bihi, maf'ul fi, maf'ul ma'ahu, maf'ul lahu, maf'ul mutlaq, mustasna, etc. What's majroor? Mudaf ilayyan, the makhfuz. I'rab. How do nouns show I'rab? How do verbs show I'rab? So everything is in your mind. Forget the text. To get that in your mind. Once that's in your mind, then we'll run through with the text. So we analyze the text, put the text with the grammatical rules. And then we'll go through the same book again, but with much more Nahw details. So inshallah, so some of you, it's the first book in Nahw in Arabic. So it may be a bit of a challenge, it'll be okay inshallah. So it's a book of Nahw. Make sure you get a good chance to recap the Nahw we've done before. Okay, you understand the book and how it works and how we're going to study this thing? Any questions? Yeah, you sure? Yeah? No questions? So for tomorrow, inshallah, we start the actual book itself, inshallah. The actual contents of the book. Okay? Subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanakallahumma, bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.